welcome back to another Coach Dave Academy lap guide video. My name is Bart, and today we're taking the FIA F4 car around the Mugello circuit. Here's the hot lap. Okay, heading down the main straight of Mugello, long main straight, should be quite easy to pass. That's why for this week's setup, I've taken quite a bit of wing off, so there might be some corners that might look like, oh, you can carry a bit more speed. And I think on the fixed setup, maybe, yeah, you could carry a bit more speed. But I found that going low wing here is definitely worth it, especially for the races. It's a long old straight, and if you're running quite a bit of wing, you're going to get overtaken quite easily. All right, so going to the first corner now. Big, wide, bold hairpin thing. Quite a unique corner, quite fun. Really punishes you if you don't carry entry speed. So there's not a big exit afterwards, and you've got to reposition to the right before turn 2. But really, for this one, just really attack the entry and don't do that without taking a huge amount of distance, because it's a very long corner, right? So if you end up a car width, 2 car widths away from the inside white line, about halfway around, you're going to lose quite a bit of lap time as well. So if we can try and just focus, okay, how much speed can I carry and can I get it quite hooked up to the inside curb, reduce that distance, you're going to probably have a good run through here. All right, so braking, you can put 2 wheels on the left curb. It's inconsistent. I think it costs you a little bit of braking performance. In my personal opinion, I prefer not to in this car just for the sake of consistency, and it doesn't really gain that much. So I'd rather just not. This white line here, which is for the 100 board, is a very good braking reference. You should be braking pretty much. You have this safety car line, and then that 100-meter board, and I'm trying to brake after both of those. Straight line braking, very heavy braking initially, so you can see here, quite quickly down to 4th gear. But once I come up to this kind of turning board on the left-hand side, I'm starting to turn to the corner. Don't be late. Be early. As you can see the rubber on the track, try and be early in the rubber. Down to 3rd gear. Very important here to get onto this inside curb. Like I said, you can see I carried a lot of speed in and I reduced the distance. Bleed off the brake, trail in. So you need to be braking this point up the hill. But it's tricky because you need that little bit of weight on the front that you get from trailing the brake in. But at the same time, you don't want to kill the speed, so you don't want to brake too much. And it's also very easy to lock on this entry. So make sure you get all your efficient braking done in the straight line, bang, bang. Heavy braking, and then just try and jump off the brake pretty fast here and just roll speed up the hill now. The incline of the hill will kind of slow the car down for you mostly. So most of the trail braking you do up the hill is not that important. Like I said, it's more for rotating the car than it is for actually trying to slow it down. Early throttle pickup. Pick up throttle before you feel like the car's rotated. This is important because it's an uphill corner, and also because you can run the car out quite wide here. Okay, so force the car out to about mid-track, get it back to the right. You can go further out. Not really worth it for me. The distance is not always great. It's more important to consistently be all the way over to the right-hand side here. Right tire is fully on this curb, so that's priority number one. Then you can start pushing the exit tip on a bit more. Really soft brake here. Really soft brake. Holding fourth gear. I tried third. Fourth is definitely better for trying to roll a bit more speed. Try and meet the inside curb at this second sausage. That was always my marker for me. Really tricky here because so the later you can meet this inside curve, the better, because it gives you a better angle for the next right. But you need to carry as much speed as possible because I've tried a few times, maybe a bit later, but you kind of overslow the car and you never get that speed back up again. So try and position the car on this curb. You should be on the inside curb right at the end of it. Get this good angle here. We're inside this, you can see this lane of the tarmac, this strip here. And I stay inside it, on this left-hand side. Full throttle when I exit the curve. And then a small lift here. I needed a small lift there, otherwise I was going to get track limits on the exit. It is better here to get on throttle earlier here and carry more speed through the left and not be full throttle through the right. But it's tricky as it's a balance because a lot of corners like this you go to and you think, okay, I've got to be flat for the right. I did that for whatever reason, lap time wise, it is a little bit better to get a small lift. I think it just helps sell the car through the right, but just a really minor lift. You see how I lift to like 90, 95% throttle. If you can get it flat and perfect, that's great. But I find when you take it flat every lap, it's very easy to underdrive. So kind of be on the edge of, if you get it absolutely perfect, it's tricky to take this flat. It should be tricky to take this right-hander flat. And by the same token, most laps you're going to have to probably lift to get it through here. Like I said, the most important thing is pick up throttle early and get this angle. So don't just carry tons of speed through that's not giving you a license to carry tons of speed through this left-hander and end up out of position for the right and then lift lots through there. So make sure we're focusing on the exit still, so early on throttle. That's the only reason you lift through here, just to keep the car. So hooked up again, I kind of aim to meet the inside curb at this second yellow sausage on the inside. All right, try and reduce the steering lock here. Track limits, you don't want the car, the middle of the car going past the edge of this curb. I bottom out a bit there, but it's weird. It's faster to take a little bit more track and bottom out than go a bit narrow and not bottom out, so happy to do that there. This curb is quite aggressive on the entry, but we do need to use it. It's annoying because it doesn't sell the car, however, it's worth so much time to use it. We can't need to use it just because it's such a narrow entry into here. Okay, braking down to fourth gear, really tricky corner this. Braking at this 50-meter board on the right-hand side. You also have a white gap in the barrier, so very easy and obvious if you just see where that marker is. Late down change to fourth. They're trying to delay the rotation. Again, how late can you meet this inside curb while carrying a lot of speed? Really easy here to clobber the inside sausage curb. That really messes you up. So that's why it's important to try and delay the rotation as much as possible here. Braking late, yeah, that's good, but try not to brake too hard either. You can see it's not a very heavy brake, heavy in the previous left-right, but this one's a bit softer. Part throttle there. Try and keep the car to the left. You can see that strip of tarmac. Kind of trying to keep the middle of the car on it. And then I'm able to get to full throttle on the exit, and then it should definitely be a lift for this right, definitely, 100% of the time. Biggest thing here is trying to delay this lift a little bit, which might seem a little bit silly because you're like, oh, delay the lift means you're going to be late to full, so your exit's not going to be as good. Okay. But if you lift too early here, you end up rotating the car too early, and you end up on this inside curb, that sausage curb there. So try and delay the lift a little bit. Get that nice angle here. Then full throttle nice and early. And again, you can run it quite aggressively on this runoff without getting off track, but be careful. All right, again, very aggressive entry curve, but we're going to use it anyway. Don't use all of it. So you can see here, I use half of it. If you use all of it, it gets worse. It kind of gets higher as you go along. Don't turn and brake on this one too much. You have to be really careful. You can kind of see, if you look at my inputs in the bottom left, it's really smooth. Like, I'm not braking much. I mean, quite conservative on my turn. And if you brake and flick the car and you're just going to spin because this entry curve is very aggressive. Reference, you got this little marshal's hut here, and you got this service road on the left, so you can't judge your braking based on that. Turn in 5th gear. Important in this section, biggest focus for me. We're trying to get the left-hander to be as quick as possible. That's the simplest part of it. The important thing is how much speed can I carry? And always try to be on a pedal through this section. So always don't really coast. That was probably the biggest thing that helped. I think with the tire in this car on iRacing, especially in this section of the track, it's really important to do that. So you can see I trail all the way in. As soon as I get off the brake, I'm on throttle. Then here, this is close to flat. It depends. It can be flat a bit like we talked earlier with turn 2, turn 3. Can be flat. If it's easy flat every time, you're probably not pushing hard enough through the previous one. So it needs to be like this. It needs to be on the absolute limit of, is it flat? Is it not? So try and carry enough speed through this right to make that possible. Because at the end of the day, if you slow down this right-hander and, okay, the left-hander's flat, cool, great. You're never going to get that speed back. It's a low-powered car in 5th gear. You're not going to get the speed back. I'd rather you slightly over-push to the right, and lift a little bit through the left. It's just going to be quicker. There's not a long exit after this, and you're not going to be able to get the speed up anyway. All right. So you can see, again, we've got these nice little kind of sections of the track here, strips of tarmac, judge our positioning. So you can see I'm in the middle of the track here. I'm right in the middle lane. That's a good reference. If you're going over to the left lane, you're in trouble for this next left. You see very small lift here. This curb, fantastic to hook the car on. Can upset it, but just please make sure you get that left tire on the inside lip of the curb there. It really helps turn the car. And once I get on that curb, I know, okay, I can commit to full throttle now, 100%. Also car out wide. You can run wider than this. Again, I think it is the middle of the car. I'm going over the multicolored curb, the tricolored curb. So just watch that. Can be a little bit wider here, but again, it's awkward bottoming, and also I actually find on this one it's quite tricky to get back. You have to work the wheel a lot. You end up kind of inducing a lot of scrub in the front tires, going a little bit wider, going left, and then going right up here again. So keep that in mind. Always keep working this section. Keep looking for what's coming next. So I'm looking here to make sure I get back to this white line there with plenty of time. You don't want to meet it early, and already turning to the right. If you're going to go into this camber, you want to start turning into it early, okay? This long right, start turning in early because otherwise you miss the camber. But don't meet the white line early because then that's when you understeer and you make the corner too tight for yourself. What I mean by that is you begin loading the steering, but do not put tons of steering on, okay? So I could turn in more aggressively here, and I could have turned in later. If I turned in later, I would have lost time because I would have had to use more kind of force through the wheel to turn the car, mainly because I'm not getting into that nice cambered groove you can see here. I want to get into that camber nice and early, more like a bank. It's a real banked corner, this. And the other thing as well is, as I said, smooth on the steering. So you look at the bottom left, smooth. So I'm looking to meet the inside curb here. That little ridge there, right when the rubber meets it. Okay? There. If you're in early, be slower on the steering. Smooth again on the wheel. Again, you can actually run quite wide on this left, basically up to the gravel. However, in a GT car, it's fine. You bottom out in this car if you're running that curb. Even in GT cars, it's going to be a bit awkward around here. So please watch for this. Again, this is why if you turn in early to that previous right, you will end up, if you're taking it flat, probably out on this exit curb. Again, you can run it without getting off track, but it upsets the car a lot on entry to the next right, and it's just extra distance as well. All right, so left tires on that curb is all good. Try and delay this turn as much as possible. Again, use the camber, smooth on the steering. Don't hit the inside curb. You can use it to rotate. I found it was slightly better, slightly faster to just go in the camber, use all the camber here, don't ride on the inside curb. So either take all the curb and put your right tires on this green bit and try and hook it round. I personally think it's better, especially because it's flat out anyway. Be smooth on the steering, reach the inside white line there, use all the camber, smooth on the wheel. So I could have held it tighter and not bottomed out in this curb, but it's slightly faster to just be smoother on the wheel. You can kill so much time in these long corners by just cranking the wheel. So please be really smooth. Just watch my steering lock in the bottom left. You can really feel it in this car as well. If you have direct drive wheel, you can feel the scrubby on the tire. We don't want to kill the speed. And again, this is legal. If you run onto the gravel, it's if you run fully out, it's illegal. Again, I think it's in the middle of the car on this curb. Get the car back over to the track. Left tire is on this curb. This curb will upset the car under braking. You can kind of see it here. It moves around a little bit. You just got to deal with it. It's advantageous to take this curb. It's too helpful. So just be smooth. Treat it like you're on a slightly low grip or slightly inconsistent part of the track. Braking down to fourth gear, quite a heavy brake, but not very long and downhill. If you hold the brake into here, if you trail in too much, you will lock very easily just because the track falls away from you. So watch that. That's super easy, and that can cause you to run wide. With that in mind, braking late here is really good. The later you can brake, the better, basically, because the angle you get through this right's good for preparing the left. If you brake early, you'll get a lot of understeer, pick up throttle early, you end up out of position, or you end up curb striking here, which you can see I just avoid. So try and get as close to that yellow curb as possible. Super tricky corner this, probably the trickiest corner on the track. Well, maybe the next corner kind of slightly trickier, but certainly a very difficult corner. Again, these lanes we kind of have here kind of judge my positioning. This left-hander is very similar to the ones we talked about earlier. Slight lift. If it's easy flat, maybe you probably didn't push the right enough, or more likely you didn't get on throttle early enough. Okay, but you need your positioning to be over here, almost in the right-hand lane, more to the right than to the left of the track. If you turn in early, because you can turn in earlier here, you just end up out of position. So try and delay it a bit. Probably will be a part lift. You can do it flat, to be honest, quite often, but the off track here is very aggressive. Probably the easiest one to get on the whole track. Again, middle of the car, so where the halo is, edge of this curving here, where this grate is. This one's very easy to get. Again, it's quite annoying because, to be honest, again, this would be flat a lot of the time if you could run out and use all this, but you can't. So to keep it legal, you're probably going to lift a bit through that left-hander. All right. Over to the left-hand side of the track. Try not to brake on this curb. Use it to widen the entry. And some people are going to say, oh, why don't you use the runoff as well? You have to go kind of over the edge of the curb then, and in a single seat, it's a bit high. I don't like it. Unless there's the car too much on braking. But this, okay, so you see 100 meter, I'm on the curb, still on the curb. Now I want to position the car into the corner, trying to get the best angle possible, okay? Because I don't want to have much lock on when I'm braking here. The smallest amount of lock as possible, but trying to still pivot the car into the corner, angle it in the right way. Okay, so braking just as I leave the curb. Fairly high pressure, but not for very long. Fourth gear. It might feel like third. It might feel quite slow, but fourth is better. Tested it quite a few times. Fourth is better. Just try and be calm. Try and be calm here. Down to fourth. Try and delay your minimum speed. Okay, your minimum speed being the slowest point in the corner. Very important in this. If you brake early, if you slow the car down early, you will just you'll turn and you'll be hitting the inside curve. You'll go, okay, I gotta get on throttle, and then you'll be on and off throttle because you'll be running out and understeering on the exit. Off front here somewhere. Very tricky downhill right this. So my best advice is just be patient. Yeah, try and delay braking as much as possible. Braking just before the 50 board here. Point the car in roughly in this direction. I kind of want to have my slowest point around here somewhere. So you see brake. And try and have the smallest coasting phase possible. Again, really important on a corner like this, I find. Otherwise, you get a ton of understeer. But again, it's tricky because, like I say, to delay the brake long enough so you can get to throttle straight away, very, very, very tricky on this corner. And that's why fourth's quite good as well. If you're in third, you kind of upset the car quite a bit. You overslow it. In fourth, the car's also more pliant. It's more relaxed about you getting on throttle. Nice and early. Full throttle. You can see here. You can be quite slow with your feed through there. You shouldn't get all the way out to the left-hand side of the track. It shouldn't be easy. But if you're, quite often with this exit, like if you have to go out, near the edge here, you've probably overpushed because it's going to take you too much work to get back to the right and then left, and then you pay for it up until the last corner. It's just a fact because you're going to take more curb, you're going to use more steering lock, and you're going to scrub the tire, and you're going to bottom out, and it kills your straight line speed on the next straight. So this is the limit. This is absolutely the limit. And also as well, if you're wide early, you just go on the dirty part of the track and you just drive off. You just get pushed wide. So very, very tricky. All right, full throttle. And you can see I let the car out a little bit as well. I probably could have kept it a bit tighter to the right, but I didn't want to slide the front tires. Because again, that would kill a lot of speed. So let the car out. Okay, position nicely. I didn't work too hard to get back to the right because I know it wasn't worth it. Okay. Try and not bottom the car out on these curbs. So the best way to do that is don't put the floor under here on the inside lip. So left tires on that. Same for this bit. Smooth on the wheel as much as possible. Left tires on the curb. Get up to the right. Up to 6th. And then braking down to 4th gear. Really cool corner this. Long banks left-hander. So blind as well. Blind entry. Braking around this 50-meter board on the right-hand side. Be patient. Again, be patient. Fairly hard brake. You can see kind of medium to hard pressure here, 50-60%. Good straight line braking initially, but then you had this long entry phase. Once you get to past this, I think it's a safety car line here. Once you get past that, you need to be very smooth, very, very smooth on the brake, just to kind of, because you still have to slow the car down at this point. You don't want to kill the speed, but it's very easy to lock. It's very easy to lock the fronts, just because the left tire becomes, the front left tire becomes unloaded, so very easy to lock the front tire as you turn in here. And the other part as well, it's also very easy to slide the rear, I find. If you try and push the entry here and you get the car braking, you're pushing, can I brake a little bit later, carry a bit more speed, the rear just slides, or the whole car kind of drifts wide and it kills your exit. So very, very tricky corner. Braking in a straight line again, down to 4th, smooth on the brake, just bleed out of it. I always try to meet about here. You can kind of see where the rubber meets the white line here. That's where you want to get into that camber, reach the inside of that point. You want to delay when you turn in as much as possible, I'd say, from that straight line braking. Smooth. Try and be very smooth on the wheel as you turn in here. Throttle nice and early. You can see I meet the inside white line. And then as soon as you get on throttle here, it's so huge. Please be smooth on the steering. And by that, I don't just mean, okay, not using much lock. I mean, get the weight out of the car. Get the load out of the front tires as much as possible. If you try and yank the steering lock on any more than you need to here, it destroys your straight line speed. So really important that you aren't just going, okay, I can go flat now, and then you're flat like this. Because I could have gone throttle earlier, to be honest. There were other laps I did. I could have gone throttle earlier and still made the exit of the corner, but I would have had more lock on. I would have slid the front tires, and it just kind of, it binds the car up and kills the momentum. So try and be smooth. So we're not, you should get some feedback through the wheel. And you also hear it as well in the game noise. You can hear the tire sliding. Try not to have it so the tire's screeching all the way around. And it doesn't usually happen about here. When it happens, it's out here, because you can see we kind of go into the dirtier part of the track, but this is just how we want to use the camber at this point. So please keep that in mind. Carry in nice and early, full throttle, swim the steering, let the car out. Also, if you're going wider than this by half a car, you're going to struggle. You're going to take a lot of extra road, and you're probably going to end up on that exit curb, so be wary. Just run the right tires on the curb, no more than that. Don't use the runoff because you'll get off track. Shortest run to the line, and that's the end of our lap at Mugello. Okay, so that brings us towards the end of the video now. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. And you can also find the Coach Dave Academy Discord, where you can check out coaching sessions from me or other fantastic coaches at CDA, or find links to where you can get some of our setups as well. My name is Bart, and I'll see you next week. Bye.